Hello students, Jinalisha welcomes you all on behalf of Saraswat International Academy. Today we will begin with the next part of the chapter, Reproduction in Organisms. Students, in the previous lecture, we have studied regarding the reproduction, what reproduction is. We have also studied that there are two types of reproduction. When single parent is involved and basically no gamete formation occurs, then that type of reproduction is called asexual reproduction. And when the two parents of opposite sex are involved and when formation of gametes and fertilization occurs, that is fusion of gametes occur, then that process is called as sexual reproduction. We have studied some different types of the asexual reproduction. Like we have studied regarding the cell division, we have studied regarding the binary fission, we have studied regarding budding, we have studied regarding sporulation. So, we have studied regarding the various types of the asexual reproduction. In today's lecture also, we will continue regarding the process of asexual reproduction. And basically, today we will be studying the process of reproduction in the higher plants. How the asexual reproduction occurs in higher plants. So, let us continue with the topic of the asexual reproduction. So, asexual reproduction in the plants is called as vegetative reproduction, or also it is called as the vegetative propagation. The asexual reproduction in plants is called as vegetative reproduction, or also it is called as vegetative propagation. In animals and other simple organisms, the term asexual is used unambiguously. That is, in the animals and other simple organism, the term asexual reproduction is only used. But when we consider the process of asexual reproduction in plants, instead of the term asexual reproduction, the term vegetative reproduction or vegetative propagation is frequently used. So, in plants, the term vegetative reproduction is frequently used. The asexual reproduction in plants occurs through their vegetative parts like leaves, roots, stems and buds. And this type of asexual reproduction is called vegetative propagation. Now see students, the process of asexual reproduction in plants occurred through the vegetative parts of the plants. Students, we know that in 11th standard we have studied that the plant parts can be divided into vegetative parts and the floral parts or sexual parts. Which are the vegetative parts of the plants? Roots, stem, leaves and the buds. So, if the vegetative parts are involved in the process of the reproduction, and basically that is basically the asexual reproduction, then such reproduction is called as vegetative propagation or also called as vegetative reproduction. In plants, the units of vegetative propagation such as runner, rhizome, sucker, tuber, offset, bulb, they are all capable to give the rise to new offsprings. Now, there are certain structures involved in the vegetative reproductions. Such structures are runners, they are rhizome, sucker, tubers, offsets, bulb. These are all the structures which are involved, these are all the vegetative parts which are capable of giving rise to the new offspring. And these structures which are the vegetative parts of the plants and are capable of giving rise to the new offsprings are called as the vegetative propagules. What are they called as? They are called as the vegetative propagules. Propagules are any structure which give rise to something. So, these are the vegetative parts which are giving rise to the new offsprings, and hence they are called as the vegetative propagules. Students, we have discussed regarding runners, rhizomes, sucker, tubers, offsets, bulb in 11th standard. But here also I will explain it in brief regarding these different structures. So let us study these different structures. See students, these are various vegetative propagules of the flowering plants, or you can say of the angiosperms. The first one is the eyes of the potato tuber. We will see potato tuber is basically, all might have seen to potato. Potato have the eyes. These eyes are nothing but they are the birds, and these birds when sown in the soil are capable of forming the new plants. Then this is the rhizome of ginger. Basically it is, rhizome is an stem. This stem will have nodes, internodes and buds, and these nodes and buds will form the new plants. Then the third one is the bulbil of the agave. Then the fourth one is the bryophyllum, the leaf of the bryophyllum. It have the adventitious buds on its margins, and these adventitious buds on margin are capable of forming the new plants. And the last one here you can see is the offsets of the water hyacinth. So let us study these structures in detail. So first of all, let us see what runners are. So runner, it is a long thin stem that usually grows horizontally along the ground and produces the roots and shoots at widely spaced nodes as in strawberry plants. See students, here strawberry, this is a strawberry plant. This is one of its stem which is growing horizontally. Now when grown horizontally, this stem have distantly spaced nodes, and at this particular nodes, when these nodes come in contact with the soil, it produces the root and the shoot, and hence a new plant or a daughter plant is produced. So this is called as a runner. Now next one is rhizome. So what is rhizome? It is an underground stem which contains node and from which arises the stem and root. See students, this is the rhizome of ginger. Now basically whatever ginger we eat, it is an underground stem. Being a stem, it contains the nodes, and from the node arises the shoot system as well as the root system. So this is how the rhizome is involved in formation of a new plant. The next one is the sucker. So sucker, they arise from the base of the erect shoot, grow horizontally in the soil, and then come out to form the new aerial shoot. So basically this shoot becomes independent when sucker break away from the parent plant. See, these arise from the base of the erect shoot. So this is the erect shoot. Now this is the basal portion. So इसका जो portion है, from there it grows horizontally in the soil. So this portion is growing horizontally in the soil, right? Now here it is forming the adventitious roots, and then this shoot, it comes out to form the aerial shoot. Okay, this portion, this sucker, it comes towards the outer side to form the aerial shoot. So this is how the sucker is involved in the formation of the new plant. Then this is the tuber of potato. So these are again the modified underground stem branches having several buds. Each eye of potato tuber is a bud which develops into new potato plants when the planted portion of the swollen tuber. Okay. So when a potato plant is planted, when a potato tuber is planted, and it's basically it have the eyes. See, these are the eyes. These are the buds of the potato. Okay. So this old potato tuber plant is planted into the soil. These are the buds. Now these buds will again form the new potato plants. See, another new plant growing from the second bud. So these buds are capable of forming the new potato plant, right? So this is how the potato tuber is involved in the formation of the new potato plant. This is regarding the offset. So what are offsets? It is a lateral branch with the short internodes and each node bearing a rosette of leaves and tuft of roots is found in the aquatic plants like Pistia and Eichhornia. So, in plants like Pistia and Eichhornia, what you will see? So, these plants basically are aquatic plants. They have the short internodes. Now, what do you mean by internodes? The distance between the two nodes is called as the internodes. So, that distance between the two nodes is very short. Now, each node will develop the rosette. Rosette is group of. Again, tuft, it also means the roots. So, rosette means a group of the leaves which will have the rose petals like effect, and tuft again it means the group. So, this is one node, this is the another node. From both node you can see that group of the leaves and the group of the roots are formed. This structure is called as what? It is called as the offset. Clear, students? So basically offset is a branch which have a short internodes and each node, internode is the distance between the two nodes, and each node will form the rosette of leaves, that is group of leaves, and tuft of roots, that is again the meaning is group of the roots. So this structure is called as what? It is called as the offset. Now the next one is the bulb. So these bulbs again are the modified stem. Example is the bulb of onion. The bulb of onion, it serves as the means of the vegetative propagation by producing new plants when sown in soil. So bulb is what? It is the modified stem. Now this stem when sown in the soil will produce the new onion plant by the process of the vegetative propagation. Say for example, this is the bulb. So internally you can see that it will have the fleshy leaves, it will have the bulb. Now this basal portion is called bulbil. Now this bulbil will form the roots as well as it will form the new shoots which will have flowers and leaves. So this is how the onion bulb is involved in the process of the vegetative propagation. So clear, students, these are some of the vegetative structures in the plants which play the very important role in the process of asexual reproduction. And as the vegetative parts of the plant like stem, roots, leaves are involved in the process of asexual reproduction, such process is called as the vegetative propagation, or also it is called as the vegetative reproduction. Now, the next method of asexual reproduction is fragmentation. So, the term itself suggests fragmentation, to cut something into different fragments. So, when the body of an organism is divided into the various pieces, into the various fragments, then each fragment is capable of forming the complete new individual, and that process is called as fragmentation. In some organisms, if the body breaks into distinct pieces or fragments, each fragment grows into an adult capable of producing the offspring. Example, Hydra. So, what is fragmentation? If the body of an organism is fragmented into different parts, then each fragment is capable to give rise to the new offspring. Such method of reproduction is called as fragmentation. This is also the mode of asexual reproduction called fragmentation. See students, here you can see the process of asexual reproduction fragmentation in Hydra. This is the adult parent Hydra. Now this Hydra is fragmented into two pieces. Amputation, it means fragmented. Now see students, this fragment is forming a complete new hydra, and even this fragment is forming a complete new hydra. And this tiny hydra are now growing and then converted into the adult hydra. So each fragmented part, as there were two fragments here, this is the first fragment, this is the second fragment. Each fragmented part gave rise to the new hydra, and hence this is considered as a type of the asexual reproduction. So fragmentation is the another method through which the process of asexual reproduction can take place. So these are the various methods of reproduction, asexual reproduction, like binary fission. We have also studied regarding the sporulation. We have studied regarding the budding, right? We have studied regarding the natural methods of vegetative reproduction in the plants, like we have studied tubers, offsets, bulb, we have studied rhizomes, etc. And another way of the asexual reproduction is the fragmentation. Now let us study some information regarding the water hyacinth, which was commonly called as the terror of Bengal. Water hyacinth or terror of Bengal. The aquatic plant water hyacinth is one of the most invasive weeds found growing wherever there is standing water. In the standing water, you will normally find a plant which is a weed called as water hyacinth. And this water hyacinth, it can propagate vegetatively at a very quick rate. The reproduction process occurs very quickly in water hyacinth, and hence it covers the complete water body. Due to that, what will happen, as its growth occurs very fast, all the nutrients will be taken up by the plant. It also drains up the oxygen from the plants, which causes the death of the fishes. And let us see what it does. So basically, what is water hyacinth? Water hyacinth, it is an aquatic weed. It is an aquatic plant which is the most invasive weed. Where it is found? Normally it is found in the standing water. What it does? It drains the oxygen from water, and due to that it leads to the death of the fishes. It drains the oxygen from water, and finally it leads to the death of the fishes. Now this plant was introduced in India because of its beautiful flowers and shape of leaves. Normally this plant was not found in our region, but due to its beautiful flowers and the shape of leaves, this plant was introduced in our country. Since it can propagate vegetatively at phenomenal rate and spread all over the water body in a short period of time, it is very difficult to get rid of them. Now the process of vegetative propagation occurs very fast in water hyacinth, and hence within the short period of time it covers the entire water body, and hence as it covers entire water body, it is very difficult to remove it. Like suppose if we remove from some part, then it might have grown on the other part. So as it covers the entire water body, it is very difficult to get rid of it. So that is regarding the water hyacinth, commonly also called as the terror of Bengal. Now we have studied that are you aware how the plants like potato, sugarcane, banana, ginger, dahlia are cultivated? We have studied. Okay, some of these plants are cultivated through the method of vegetative propagation. The small plants emerge from the buds called eyes of the potato tuber, from the rhizomes of banana and ginger. So how the potato plant is cultivated? So new plants of potato emerge from the eyes of the potato called as the buds. Then in banana and ginger, what are involved? It is the rhizomes. The site of the origin of the new plantlets in the plant listed above arise from the nodes present in the modified stems of this plant. So basically, what is the site of origin of the new plantlet? So in all the above listed plants, the new plantlets arise from the nodes. Basically ये जो भी कोई examples mention किए गए हैं like potato, sugarcane, banana, ginger, dalia, all these basically are the modified stems, and as they are stems they will have the nodes, and from the nodes of this plant new plantlets will form. When the nodes come in contact with damp soil or water, damp soil is moist soil. So when the nodes of these plants come in contact with damp soil or water, at that time they produce the new roots and the new plants. So this is how the reproduction occurs in the different types of the plants. Similarly, adventitious buds arise from the notches present at the margins of the leaves of bryophyllum. At the margins of the leaves of the bryophyllum arises the adventitious buds, and these buds are capable of forming the new plants of the bryophyllum. So this ability is fully exploited by gardeners and farmers for the commercial production of such plants. So basically the property of the vegetative propagation in the plants is utilized by the farmers and gardeners for the commercial production of the plants. Clear? See students, this is the leaf of a bryophyllum with bud in its margin. It is very interesting to note that asexual reproduction is common the common method of reproduction in organisms that have relatively simple organization like algae and fungi, and that they shift to the sexual mode of reproduction just before the onset of the adverse conditions. Now, in the simple basically those organisms which have simple body organization, in them normally the asexual reproduction takes place. But these like algae and fungi are the organisms with the simple body organization, and they normally reproduce through asexual reproduction. But as soon as the adverse condition arrives, these organisms switch to the sexual mode of reproduction. So question arises, why do they switch over to the sexual mode of reproduction? So again I told you, okay, they shift to the sexual mode of reproduction on the arrival of the adverse condition. So how, like I told you, okay, these organisms, algae and fungi, they undergo sexual reproduction at the time of the unfavorable conditions. So question arises, how the sexual reproduction enables these organisms to survive under the adverse condition. Adverse condition these organisms do not undergo asexual reproduction. They undergo sexual reproduction. So how sexual reproduction enables these organisms to survive? Or you can say, why is sexual reproduction favored under such condition? During adverse condition, how is the sexual mode of reproduction beneficial? Fungi and algae switch to the sexual mode of reproduction during adverse condition. The reason is the sexual reproductions bring about the variations among the individuals. Very important property of the sexual reproduction is the generation of variation. We know that during sexual reproduction there is fusion of gametes, and we know that the fusion of gametes will always result in the variations. So these variations enables the organisms to survive under the adverse condition. Due to the sexual reproduction, variations arises, variations are generated, and this variation enables the organism to survive under the adverse condition. Such variations helps the individual to adapt to the changed conditions and survive. Adverse conditions may these variations bring about adaptation, and hence the organisms will be survived. This ensures the continuity of the species and also helps in the phenomena like speciation. So, as adverse conditions arise, these organisms will survive because they undergo the sexual mode of reproduction. So, due to that, the continuity of the species will be maintained, and as variations occur, and we know that variations are responsible for speciation. So, this type of phenomena also helps in the process of the speciation. So, from this general conclusion derived from the asexual reproduction are, so following are the important features of asexual reproduction. Single parent involved, no fertilization or gamete formation takes place, the process of reproduction occurs in very short time, the organisms multiply and grow rapidly, and the offsprings are genetically similar, that is, they are the clones. So, this is the brief conclusion regarding the asexual reproduction. Asexual, that is vegetative, as well as sexual modes of reproduction are exhibited by higher plants. So, in higher plants, both methods of reproduction takes place. Vegetative, that is asexual reproduction, as well as the sexual mode of reproduction. But when we consider the animals, in most of the animals, the sexual method of reproduction is the only way of reproduction. On other hand, only the sexual mode of reproduction is present in most of the animals. So, in higher plants, both the methods of reproduction, that is vegetative or you can say asexual, as well as sexual method of reproduction takes place. But when we talk about animals, in most of the animals, only the sexual mode of reproduction takes place. So, students, I end my lecture here. In the next lecture, we will be studying how the process of sexual reproduction takes place. So, thank you, students.